Guess who's back? Back again. All right. So, welcome to the podcast scripter podcast show. Mouthful. I'll tell you the reason why the rebrand, why the change name in a bit. So, yeah, Happy New Year. We are back finally. Sorry if there's like a few delays in, the shows and the podcast. Been sick and I'm still sick. I have acid reflux, a severe or advanced acid reflux that connects to the throat and whatnot. I still have cough. Can hear my voice. That's there's sinus and yeah the cough. Sorry. So yeah, welcome back. How's your new year? Hope that everything is fine and great and dandy. Full for the new years ahead. And you might be weirded about the background. We are still, me and my wife and my son. We're still at my folks' house here in Manila. Celebrated New Year here, my wife and my other family, my family. Sorry, not my family. The other half of my family celebrated in Bulacan. I have to celebrate here because of work. But yeah, after a month or more than a month, we're back on the road. We're back on the show. Uh, so this is yeah, my co-host is starting to enter the room. So that's my son, my daughter, my youngest daughter is here. My eldest daughter is sleeping. I don't really care, but yeah, my son is coming now. He's walking. He started to walk. Here go. Here's my son, the co-host in the background image back then. So yeah, episode 42, I believe. Yeah, we did the Pop and Wrestling Awards last month. But after that or before that, it was like a regular episode. But now we are back doing our regular programming. So if you can see in my background, we have Raw live on Netflix, NXT, and SmackDown. So we are going to tackle right now WWE's Big Week. When I said Big Week, they started January 3rd with SmackDown moving from uh, from a 2 hour broadcast in USA Network to 3 hour, which Triple H or Paul Levesque made clarification of how and when it will be a 3 hour programming. More on that later. Of course, the big topic of Raw moving to Netflix. That happened last January 6th in the States. And, January 7th here. And my son is giving me the box of my ring light. I have a ring light. I'll tell you another reason why later in the show. And of course, that NXT with that big rating coming out last week during New Year's Evil, with highlighted by The Rock's appearance in NXT for the first time. Um, Julia's crowning moment as the NXT Women's Champion, and Ova Femi winning the NXT Championship from Trick Williams and Eddie Thorpe in a three-way match. So yeah, big week from WWE. We can also discuss the SmackDown last Friday, but before that, Cheyenne, can you please close the door? Thank you. Yeah, I told my daughter to close the door. So yeah, let's talk about WWE's big week. So January 3rd, the new year opened up with SmackDown moving from a 2 hour programming to 3 hour programming, based on with their deal with USA Network. USA Network, lost uh, WWE, WWE Monday Night Raw to Netflix, which But the thing is, they offered SmackDown like 200 or $2 billion. No, I don't know. 205, so $1 billion, $1 billion and 10, or more than $1 billion. It's $205 million a year for SmackDown alone. Um, SmackDown's first 3 hour programming was highlighted by a few bits and pieces there, but to be fair, it was highlighted by months of teasing. Tiffany Stratton finally cashing in the women's Money in the Bank against Nia Jax to win the WWE Women's Championship. and it was a great cash in. It was really a brawl because I believe the match started with Naya and Naomi, and with Naya winning because of outside interferences. Then Tiffany Stratton came out. They seemed all and dandy until a betrayal came out. One KOD later, Tiffany Stratton, throwing Bianca Belair outside the ring, and she finally cashed in the Money in the Bank briefcase and did the prettiest moonsault, perhaps her prettiest moonsault ever, to win her first WWE Women's Championship. So my take on the 3 hour programming for SmackDown, it's a good uh, business deal for WWE, for SmackDown and USA, since WWE still have a great relationship with the USA folks, with NBC Universal. Peacock still has like a year to go with their deal with WWE Network in the US, which also we will be talking later about what's with the WWE Network, Netflix, thing here in the Philippines. Um, but there's a lot of podcasters, including me, with speculations, but we don't really know anything at all. Huh. And then yeah. So yeah, the 3 hour programming is actually good for me for SmackDown. It will showcase more superstars. And the thing is with the 2 hour SmackDown, they have a lot of superstars, but when they already did like two shows for a 3 hour SmackDown, and they were still using the same superstars. But the thing is, with the transfer window still in effect, call ups from NXT, I think knowing Paul Levesque, he knows what he's doing. The creative team knows what they're doing. Probably, definitely, they do know what they're doing. They're paid to know what they have to do. Um, and yeah, they will showcase more superstars. They will showcase more wrestlers. They will showcase or develop more storylines. In my perspective. And for me, at the stage of my life, 41, turning 42 this month, birthday month, yeah. That's why maybe I'm sick because I normally get sick before my birthday and after my birthday. So yeah, um, I like longer matches more because they tell a great story inside the ring, and you know they will, like I said, they will showcase superstars more. They will showcase more wrestlers. They can add more wrestlers in the future. Like I said, with the call up with from NXT and the transfer window from Raw, NXT, and SmackDown. So one particular wrestler that's already there in SmackDown is Braun Strowman, and right now he's in a current mini feud with Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes is actually feuding with a lot of people now, including the Usos and Braun Strowman. Um, they'll showcase more, for the with the mid card titles, the Women's United States Championship and the United States Championship for men with Nakamura. So yeah, tag team division is strong. With DIY currently the tag team champions or WWE tag team champions. With Motor City Machine Guns, A Town Down Under, Pretty Deadly, who are right now really breaking out of their shell as a former, or still a comedic tag team, but they are really, showing more personality, and Los Garzas or Legado del Fantasma, and I believe they'll be adding tag teams more there. Um, so I'm all for it. But per Paul Levesque, he also made this interview or comment that SmackDown will be only 3 hours until June of this year. I don't know why. Maybe there's a programming, um planned programming for Smack or not sorry for not for SmackDown for USA Network. That's why they needed that last hour again. But a lot of things. I still think that SmackDown is looking up. They're the only cable show for WWE right now. With Raw moving to streaming, NXT with broadcast TV or free TV in the States, which is in compared here in the Philippines, like your GMA network, TV5. With but yeah, I still think that things are looking up for SmackDown, and let's just wait for the ride. So next up, let's talk about Raw on live on Netflix that happened January 6th. Now, it was highlighted by two, no, I consider it two main events, but the first one opened up the show match. First match was like for the tribal chief or the Ulafala, Roman Reigns versus the OTC Roman Reigns versus Ben, tribal chief, who's wearing the Ulafala, Solo Sikoa in a tribal combat match. Anything goes. It felt like the same storyline or match that happened last night two of WrestleMania with Cody versus Roman Reigns in a Bloodlines rules match. Everyone interfered. From the Bloodline, Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes, the Usos, Sami Zayn. So it felt like that. And also, Roman Reigns won. Finally, he won the match. Finally, regained the Ula Fala. Uh, and The Rock or Dwayne Johnson, he has he have actually he actually has the title of High Chief Salui, I believe. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. Because he's really a high chief. He was actually pronounced as a high chief of their Samoan bloodline, and he was the one who uh, gave the Ulafala to Roman Reigns, and to make Roman Reigns the official, the one and only tribal chief of the Anoa'i family and or the bloodline. So yeah, and also a couple of matches there. Drew versus Jay, with Jay surprisingly winning, and the main event of Raw live on Netflix, the first main event was CM Punk versus Seth freaking Rollins. Rumored to be like the night one main event for WrestleMania last year. Didn't happen because of Punk's tricep injuries, and they finally fought after we're like say more than 10 years now. 10 years, yeah, more than 10 years. It was CM Punk's first Raw match since leaving the WWE in 2014. But before that, he fought Seth Rollins when Seth Rollins was still part of the Shield. Great match, great storytelling. Um, a lot of people are still making things up or in their mind that CM Punk's body is fragile. It's fragile fell. I don't think so. Um because like one move Punks is injured. No, it's not. He's telling a story, guys. He is telling a story. This is my perspective as a fan because I'm going to tell you a brief history or storytelling of older wrestlers coming back. Hogan was one in 2002. Um, but Hogan is like the play safe type of wrestler. Shawn Michaels came back in 2002 after leaving the WWE for 4 years because of a back injury. But if you're looking at the perspective of Shawn Michaels, I can compare it. I'm not comparing Shawn Michaels to CM Punk. They're two different wrestlers, and Shawn Michaels is actually my favorite wrestlers of all time. I've already said that. Um, but if you're going to look at their, the trajectory of their age and whatnot, CM Punk after the match against Seth Rollins said, "I'm 46 years old. I'm 41. He's 46. It's just 5 years older than me." Um, he's telling a story that he is like trolling people. That one move that he do or one move that his opponent do to him is he's already going to be like injured. He's telling a story. He is selling. Same with Shawn Michaels when Shawn Michaels came back in 2002 until he retired in 2010, I believe. So Shawn Michaels is a routine guy with the flying burrito, the flying elbow smash, keep up. Uh, what's the routine? So flying burrito, keep up, uh, inverted atomic drop, clothesline, body slam, elbow drop, tuning in the band, super kick. It's a routine. But when before that routine, or at least before or after that routine that Shawn Michaels does, he is selling to his opponents that, oh, my back is getting injured. I'm getting beat up here. Maybe they do, part of it. But it's selling. And Punk sold his, butt off in the match against Seth Rollins. Same as him selling with against Drew last year at SummerSlam, Bash in Berlin, and Bad Blood. He is selling. It's called selling. Selling his spots. He might be, or potentially hurt at the time, but he is selling his butt off, saying that, oh, you know what, he is wrestling his age. And in all fairness, for me at the match, that main event, it's actually a great main event, TV main event match. And yeah, CM Punk won against Seth Rollins. And Cheyenne, can you please close the door again? The circle is, blocking the door. So yeah, sorry about that. Like I said, we're an organic type of podcast. So yeah, CM Punk won in a hard fought match. They did an eerily familiar finish with CM Punk hitting the GTS to Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins sold, like, being dinged up, and he dropped to CM Punk's shoulders while Punk was still kneeling and hit another GTS to secure the win. But it was a really great match. Um, Seth Rollins gave CM Punk a GTS. I believe that's the first time that someone did that to CM Punk. I might be wrong. Maybe somebody from AEW did that. And no, it's not Troy. Sorry, CM Punk executing the stomp against Seth Rollins himself. So, but yeah, Punk won, and WWE brilliantly showed the footage of CM Punk trolling Seth Rollins with the night with a disbelieved Seth Rollins, and I don't know where this feud is going. People are saying that Seth Rollins might turn heel. But if you ask me, in order for Seth Rollins to turn heel, give me 1 second. Cheyenne, stop standing there. If you're going to stand, just sit, stand, or sit. Sorry, I have to reprimand my daughter. Um, the only way for I'm doing a show. I'm doing something. Why are you guys here? So yeah, it's my mom and my kids. They're eating. So in order for Seth Rollins to be a heel, he has to remove the song or his entrance music from him because that's how fans are cheering him. And yeah, so it was already established that Punk will be in the Royal Rumble, I guess. But CM Punk will be opening or not. I will not will be. I don't know if he'll be opening the show tomorrow on Netflix, second show on Netflix. But he will be there, according to Adam Pierce. So yeah. So that's my take. And for ratings, sorry about ratings. Yeah, SmackDown did like almost a million and a half for the first 3 hour show. Netflix Raw did 4.9 million globally and 2.6 million in the States for their live show. I don't know about, it's been in there. Raw has been in. No, that's fine. He's my co host. Shadwick is my co host. He's always in my show. And yeah. So, uh, I don't know if it will be the same tomorrow, but they're been in the top 10 last time I checked. Even for the Netherlands, the Europe, the US, Netflix, they're in the top 10. So more people at least are still watching. But for the live one, they have 2.6 in the States and 4.9 globally. And if fans or people are saying, well, they just got 4.9, not a lot of people are watching wrestling. Even if you have like 150 million subscribers for Netflix, not 100 million, 150 can watch or are watching wrestling, but still a good number for a live show. Um, I had glitches on the Netflix side, but so I watch it on Blast TV. But for SmackDown and NXT, the following days it was smooth sailing, and I am going to teach you guys not how to watch it with not being a pirate, and I'll tell you guys later. And so, lastly, for NXT New Year's Evil was uh, produced the day after Raw on Netflix. So it was Wednesday here in Manila, Tuesday in the States for New Year's Evil. Highlighted, like I said, by the women's championship NXT championship match between Julia and current champion, then champion Roxanne Perez and Oba Femi versus Eddie Thorpe versus NXT champion, then NXT champion Trick Williams in the triple threat. Those were the highlights. I'm just saying the highlights, not the entire show. Since we're cramped up the three shows or the WWE's big week here in our program for Podcast Grifter Podcast, a new title for the show. I will tell you guys later why. And also highlighted by Dwayne The Rock Johnson's being a guest in NXT, being a guest of his daughter, Ava Rain, General Manager Ava Rain. And yeah, it was a great show. People are still, why is The Rock in the main event or main segment of the program? I guess it's by design to get, like I said, viewership. And they did a hell of a lot of great viewership for NXT for CW. They did like 957,000 viewership. It was the second most viewed NXT program since they debuted on TV or linear television like 5 years ago with 1.1 million viewership, I believe, in the USA. But now they did 957, which is still good. Rock just said, I'll be on NXT tomorrow. It's like after his Instagram post on after Monday on Netflix. No, imagine if they did like 2 weeks before, could break that more than probably a million. They did an encore last Saturday in the States. I don't know the viewership for that, but for the live one, they did 957, which is great. A great number for them, business wise, viewership wise. And like I said, we have a new women's champion in Julia defeating Roxanne Perez, and Obafemi being the new NXT champion defeating uh, champion. Here's my co-host again. He's back after eating, and don't press the laptop. And yeah, and yeah, and Obafemi winning the NXT women's. No, sorry, not women's. Sorry, NXT championship from then champion Trick Williams and um, Eddie Thorpe in a three-way match. I don't know the trajectory for Trick Williams. A lot of speculations that he is main roster ready for WWE, probably after Stand and Deliver. And Obafemi being the new face of NXT moving forward. We don't know the trajectory. Um, I don't know. Like I said, it's great. And like I said, The Rock uh, doing his own rock things for like 8 minutes, and him saying that he is 20 steps ahead of everyone. So because he was actually criticized from showing on Monday Night Raw, thanking Cody Rhodes, thanking the Netflix executives, thanking WWE executives. So it's like a lot of people are saying or discussing that he's no longer the final boss. I said in the my friends there in the Wrestling Republic podcast and page that I felt that 95%. I'm sure that Rock will not be competing at WrestleMania this year. So there's still that 5% that he might, because he broke character when he was holding the People's Championship title belt. He gave it to his daughters in Monday Night Raw. I'm like, okay, he's breaking character. He's no longer the final boss. On the Instagram, he went to Cody, shook his hand. Then afterwards, in the Instagram post, he was drinking Teremana tequila with Cody Rhodes in the backstage before leaving. again thanking him. I don't know the trajectory of the program or the storyline with Rock, but I don't know. Let's wait and see. Like I said, 95%. I'm sure that he will not be competing because of reshoots with Moana live action and probably doing a lot of movies and stuff. But there's still that 5% chance of opening that he might still. So we don't know. Also, on the run on Netflix, John Cena establishing himself, declaring himself to be an entrant in the Men's Royal Rumble this year with the intentions of winning it and getting a crack at that 17th World Championship, reigns. Probably an Intercontinental Champion, I don't know. He is signed for like 36 dates, according to him. He might not wrestle in all those 36, but he will be there. Um, so yeah, that's WWE's big week. For AEW, they also have a few good. So I will probably do an AEW, big week programming on Thursday during AEW's Dynamite day, since it's their day here in Manila, but Wednesday they're in the States. Um, but for WWE, that's their big week, and it's really, really big. It's really, really impressive. My take on that, it's really great business for WWE right now. Fans are Some of my fans, some of the friends of my friends are like, it's not Raw on Netflix didn't feel like a WrestleMania. I felt it is, or it was, because if you're an executive, a fan, or WWE, executive, or personnel, it's as big as a WrestleMania in terms of business wise. Remember, Netflix, according to reports, Netflix is paying WWE Raw or even WWE Network internationally $5 billion for 10 years. That's $500 million per year. And that's big. It's already sustainable for them. They don't I'm not saying they don't need the NXT or SmackDown, money, but they're getting like, 750 million alone for TV. Almost $750 million alone for TV or for their programming. And that's big. It's already a big week for them, big business for them. And if some fans didn't feel like it's a WrestleMania feel for Raw on Netflix, that they were a bit let down, I feel it's like the WWE personnel are selling it to the fans that they feel like it's a WrestleMania event, type of event for Raw on Netflix. And also good for Triple H or Paul Levesque saying that, we can't do as big as this show next week or the following weeks. It's like, your normal TV shows that your Game of Thrones, be Breaking Bad. For us, some nerds in the Worldwide Wrestling Society page, your Supernatural, your Smallville, your Superman and Lois, your Arrowverse show, that there's like a big episode, but following that could be, building, storyline building. And I believe for Raw on Netflix, it will be the same. But I believe a lot on Paul Levesque's storytelling, and we are now starting off for WrestleMania season. Um, the following the following weeks and months ahead, and let's enjoy the ride. So okay, it's 28 minutes now, 29 minutes. So why the rebrand? Why the change of name from Pop and Wrestling Podcast to the Podcast Grifter Podcast? Mouthful, but it's funny. I think in my head it's funny. So there's this story that there's this one New Japan Pro Wrestling announcer, I believe during Wrestling Dynasty, who made a rant that AEW's owner or AEW owner Tony Khan is a money mark, that he isn't good for the business and whatnot. So he's just telling what some fans are thinking, most of the fans are thinking, and AEW protector, heavy protector, Wrestling Observer's very own Dave Meltzer made a comment that why he's already Charlie Charleston of New Japan Pro Wrestling is already suspended indefinitely because of the rant. um, and why podcast grifters are being here or included here, which is also ironic because also had a podcast with Wrestling Observer. He's asking people money for, and I'm like, yeah, grifters that don't really ask. I don't know if grifters ask people for money. For me, I don't. I like I said, this podcast YouTube channel page, I haven't, I don't have any monetary value yet. I haven't, monetized it yet, and I hope I can get there. To be honest, so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to steal that and use that name. So I'm now the Pop and Wrestling Podcast. Sadly, is going to be rebranded as the Podcast Grifter Podcast. So I am your podcast grifter because I don't, like I said, I don't have anything monetarily value with this. I'm not earning money. I'm not spending money. Why do I have a ring light? Quick story is I won a raffle, first ever raffle. For shout out for my DCU Philippines Facebook brothers. I just followed their instructions and I won a a wireless charger and a ring light, and that's why I'm using a ring light now. So it's the first time, and I haven't spent any money yet except for the laptop. I'm still paying for it. Um, so yeah, that's the name change. Why the name change from Pop and Wrestling Podcast? Although I love it, it's my creation. The podcast Rifter is like, you know what? This is fun. I will steal it and I will use it to be my own now. So moving forward now, if you go to my YouTube page or channel, it's the podcast Rifter Podcast. Yeah, but I'm still Coach 23. And this is still a show where we talk about pro wrestling, pop culture, and life in general here at the Podcast Rifter Podcast. Also, for the news, I will probably uploading this episode on the Pop and Wrestling Podcast. Still, I haven't changed the name on Facebook and my TikTok page for the Pop and Wrestling Podcast. I will include this video. This is the first video, full video that I'll be uploading there. So instead of like clicking the link, but you can still follow the link here on YouTube. But I will post this video on the Worldwide Society Wrestling page, WWE Philippines, where I am a manager. Since this is a WWE show, and yeah, also on the Pop in Wrestling Facebook page, I will paste it there. But yeah, follow me on right now still in the Facebook page, Pop in Wrestling Podcast. Same with TikTok, Pop in Wrestling Podcast. But on YouTube, it's Podcast Grifter Podcast. And thank you guys. Happy New Year. I'm back despite being sick with acid reflux, a bad cough, almost an asthmatic cough. But we are back, and stay tuned tomorrow as we are back here more on the podcast Crypto Podcast with me, Coach 23. Where tomorrow I'll be probably doing a video for the second Raw show on Netflix, full blown review and whatnot. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I miss you guys. Hope you guys miss me, and have a happy New Year. Bye, guys.